Good morning. Can you see me? Yeah. Oh, so fast. The person you are seeing is actually an indigenous person. Some of you have never seen the original African. I am the original African from the jungle of Uganda. Happy to see you here. I'm a bit local. I will not really present. You will see from my slide that I'm a little bit traditional. And my name is Oliver. Indeed, it is an honor and indeed a privilege to be here today to speak to, I've never spoken to a number of people like this, intellectuals. So you'll hear some changes in my voices because it has been a long time since I campaigned to be a local representative in my constituency and I failed. So this is my first time to talk to a group of intellectuals. Today, as we observe the octave of Easter, a season of renewal and hope, I stand before you, not only as a Rotary Peace Fellow, but also as a committed stakeholder in environmental conservation. And of course, peace building, because environment and peace building go hand in hand. I am humbled to share a reflection on this topic, advancing conservation for peaceful coexistence. The last time I checked, coexistent means harmony. How do we conserve the environment and utilize it in harmony? I chose the topic because of two reasons. One, because environmental conservation is a key pillar of Rotary International. And secondly, because of my touch with the indigenous people whose land has been taken away by some of these conservation initiatives. We are a forest-based community. So I stand before you, not to share a story, but a voice of people neglected, a voice of people not heard of. And indeed, you are a contributor to their instability. Because the government of Uganda, which is a smaller country that really no people know about. The last time I checked, when I was in Cataract country, please forgive my pronunciation. The only thing people know about Uganda was a chaotic period in time during the leadership of one president called Idi Amin. That is what people recall a lot. But this is a small country sandwiched in Africa. You can see that small dot. And it is also known as the Pearl of Africa. I don't know why it was called that. I think that pearl has been destroyed. Very small, comparable to a state of Oregon here, but with a population of 45 million. Can you imagine? A small area of land occupying such big number and such a government who want to really implement conservation. Where will people stay? Where will people cultivate? The area is known as a place rich in biodiversity, flora and fauna. And actually that is what makes Uganda stand out in Africa. You can see 19,000 species of plants, animals, etc. That is what really drive people to visit Uganda. So I also welcome you, please come visit Uganda. Thank you. But there is this problem. Yes, conservation is good. Good to who? Conservation is good to you who is doing the conservation because you are doing it at the expense of people who rely on those forests for their livelihood, for their survival. How are you a participant in the displacement that is happening in Uganda. I may ask you one question. How did you come here? Did you use electric car? Did you ride a bicycle? You came either flying or driving automobile. You are contributing to the climate change because of the carbon that you release. And the solution is the land-based carbon sink, which is the forest. That is where the government of Uganda, being a poor country, has rushed to that. It's the only way to get money from you, the polluters, and ensure that they do some development activities in their countries. Because of this, the government has failed to look at the local indigenous people. Their focus now is how to create big chunk of forests in order to get that money. As of last year, $31 million was given for a verified carbon sink in a forest in my area. So which government in Africa, a poor country, will really look at the local people? Yet there is some money coming as carbon financing. Some money is coming to offset some of the carbon. So the focus is actually now on extending lands and pushing away the people who live at the margins of this protected area. The second one is you visitors. You visit our country, excellent. See what you are doing. You are contributing a lot to our economy. 3% of our GDP is from your visitation. Please come visit Uganda. Employment of 800,000. Please come visit Uganda. Who are the managers of this place that are always focusing on only forest and ignoring the people? These are the culprits. Uganda Wildlife Management Authority, managing all these sites, parks, reserves, sanctuaries, and the like, using very strict legal regimes, and actually some of the international framework created by some of you in this room. Sorry for that. The current conservation approaches in Uganda actually does not look at human beings as actually a necessity. It is not like I have observed here in the United States, where human and parks coexist. In Uganda, it is total exclusion. Parks policies are so strict that if you enter a park, you are considered an encroacher. And you will not come back alive. The only time you come back alive when you enter a park is when you're a visitor, because you're bringing in resources. If you are not a visitor, you are considered a poacher, and you are supposed to be shot on target. Our parks and conservation areas are manned by the military and militarized game rangers who are supposed to scout the area day and night, ensure there are no human beings, and especially the local ones who will interfere with the area. And as such, it has led to this whole problem that we now call conservation-led displacement. What you see here are actually some of the key hotspots where there has been continuous displacement of indigenous people from their area. Displacement without notice, displacement without compensation, displacement without rehabilitation. The Batwa community is one of the indigenous people. I believe some of you have heard about them. Just in a span of 10 years, they have lost their land. 6,200 people evicted. The Benet, 18,000 evicted. The Ik community, which happens to be the community that I come from, 10,000. people evicted. Out of a population, we are a very small community. That community actually is lesser than 15. We are a small community of 15,000 human beings. We have been dispossessed. Even me who is talking, I now live in another area far away from that, about 100 miles away from my original homeland, in the name of conservation. These are some of the impact, colleagues and friends, and these are just not really, it's just not an evidence picture. These are lived realities. The picture you see down there, you know, in Africa, sometimes when a community is overwhelmed, men are rendered useless. Women use their bodies as a weapon of protest. So you see them there, they are stripped naked in front of authorities that have come to evict them. What you see up there is actually a group of people. The picture doesn't actually include a number of shacks on this side. These are people who are displaced, and they have lived in such kind of shack for over years. And they have to fend for themselves without water, without any assistance. So they are just destitute. You live in that and look for some work in people's garden. This is my setting. This grass-touched, whatever. Displaced away from their original home, now they have sought sanctuary in an area that doesn't even support production. We are agriculturalists. Just because you are seeking for where to stay. People are pushed to already existing areas which are having already people. And that has resulted into a lot of land disputes. This is what the process to change say. Not only were Bennett violently evicted from the forest and robbed of their ancestral home, but today, decades later, they are still living in temporary settlements made of empty huts of mud and stick, deprived of essential services such as clean water, electricity, healthcare, and education. And that is what is happening till now. The problem is cyclical, from weak governance, policies, leading to displacement, and displacement omens conflict. So there has been a cycle of conflict upon conflict. Conflict with authority, conflict among the community, because they are struggling for the scarce land resources. Tale from corner are like becoming a refugee, being forcefully ousted from one's land and habitat by immediate is disruptive and painful, but also becoming poorer than before displacement, more vulnerable economically and disoriented socially. What needs to change? One, the government and stakeholders in conservation should recognize and protect indigenous land rights. There must be security of tenure to the indigenous people. Next is provision of access to remedy and reparation, especially for the people who have already been evicted and having nowhere to stay. And we are saying that in case of any eviction or conservation-related eviction, there must be a human lens where eviction should be conducted with a human right lens. This has worked in other areas, but the approach has changed. It's called community-based natural resource management. This recognizes the rights of the people on land, recognize their wisdom, which is called indigenous knowledge, in managing such forested areas. And it is only being practiced in Namibia. And we are asking the government of Uganda, please borrow some idea from Namibia, ensure that the local people are stewards of their resources, because that is where their livelihood is based. To conclude, Ladies and gentlemen, conservation should be built on inclusion, equity, and respect for rights. Let us act now to recognize indigenous peoples, restore ancestral land, and support displaced communities in rebuilding sustainable livelihoods and living with dignity for a just and peaceful society. Thank you, and may God bless you.